Mimba hizi za mapema jamani zimetuchosha.
Thank you very much. You may take your seats.
Honorable Simon Chalugui, Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection. Honorable Olen Tutu, the Chief Administrative Secretary at the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection. Honorable Priscilla Nyokabi, Commissioner at the National Gender and Equality Commission. Dr. Mohammed A. Sheikh, Director General for National Council for Population Development. Dr. Richard Earlbach, Deputy Development Director, British High Commission. Madam Sylvia Chidodo, CEC, Public Administration at Kwale County, representing His Excellency Salim Mvurya, the Governor for Kwale County. Honorable guests from civil societies in Kenya and our partners, youth advocates present, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How are you all feeling today? It's a pleasure to host you on this incredibly important day. My name is Janet Bugwa. I'm a media person and the founder of Inua Dada Foundation and a friend of Plan International, I might also add, joined by this incredible lady.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Hope Nyokabimbote. I am a student at the University of Nairobi in my third year. I am also a youth talk show host and a Plan International girl advocate. Thank you very much.
And possibly future leader of the country. Quite possibly.
Amen.
Just a few announcements you'll allow Hope and I to make before we invite our first guest. First of all is to make sure that you're able to capture this moment online. So for those of you who are joining virtually, first of all, we really appreciate you being there. And hopefully later, I hope we'll be able to have them wave at us.
Definitely, we will make sure to recognize you from wherever you're at, ready your cameras, and we'll make sure to acknowledge your presence with us today.
Absolutely. And so the hashtags is hashtag Plan for Girls, hashtag Plan for Young Women, and hashtag Plan Kenya Strategy Launch. And of course, this is, as I mentioned earlier, an incredibly important day. Hope, I know that you're also a friend of Plan. You've worked with them for a bit. We've collaborated as Janet and Inua Dada Foundation on various media pieces all about adolescent girl agency, the importance of protection of girls and women, equipping them with psychosocial support against gender-based violence, and of course just educating the public on how to stand with women and girls. So this is such an important day.
I would definitely agree with you when you say that, because getting to be able to sit together in a room with people who recognize that girls are disproportionately disadvantaged in so many ways and are bringing their heads together to be able to come up with ideas of how to make things better is just the best place to be at. And so we recognize that this is a very important day today. And if you at home agree with us, please please make sure that you send it tweeting. Let's make sure that today trends, that the plan strategy unveiling today trends, and that we are together in this fight for girls and young women and children.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Hope. And so, of course, we also appreciate that we need to keep in time. And so just a small disclaimer for our distinguished speakers and some of them who are coming today. Please, if you're able to keep your speeches as succinct as you possibly can in the interest of time, to allow us to get everyone to say something special before the end of the program. And so with that, once again, virtual viewers, please continue to ask your friends to log into the Plan International Kenya country office page on YouTube and Plan International Kenya page on Facebook for live streaming. And so without further ado, we're going to welcome Patrick Jenga, Director of Operations, Plan International Kenya. And as he makes his way to the stage, we're going to show a video of Plan International's journey. It has been a long and incredible journey. So for those of you, this is a chance to capture it in a few minutes of video as we welcome Patrick to give his welcome remarks. Thank you.
In 1937, at the height of the Spanish Civil War, British journalist John Langdon Davis came across a child with a note hung around his neck, calling on whoever finds a boy to take care of him. The war correspondent answered the call, and with that, Plan International was born. Today, the organization has roots in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Africa, covering 75 countries. Within the Middle East, East and South African region, Plan International has operations in 15 countries, including Lebanon, Jordan, Ethiopia, South Sudan, Mozambique, and Kenya. Plan International has been operating in Kenya since 1982, responding to emergency and relief programs as well as long-term development work. We have transformed the lives of millions of children, adolescents, and youth through our projects in education, water, sanitation and health, resilience building, disaster and risk reduction, and child protection. With close to 40 years of working experience in Kenya, we are unapologetic about advancing girls' rights. We recognize the barriers that still stand in the way of realizing the rights of adolescent girls and young women in Kenya, such as gender-based violence, vulnerability to commercial exploitation, and other harmful practices such as FGM, early and forced marriages. We employ gender transformative approaches that seek to tackle the root causes of gender inequality within the society. We work towards reshaping unequal gender and power relations so as to achieve the full realization of girls' rights and equality. We work with like-minded allies towards enabling policies, budgetary and institutional frameworks that advance gender equality and adequately protect girls and young women's rights. Together, we take action so that 100 million girls can learn, lead, decide, and thrive.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my task is really very simple. It is to welcome all of you, and this includes all of us who are participating virtually in this launch. We know we have participants from around the country, from the coast, Kwale, we have Kilifi, Tana River, Nairobi, Tharaka, Machakos, Kisumu, Bondo, and Homa Bay. We also have people participating virtually from all over the world, our global hub in London, our national offices spread all over the world. You are all most welcome. This is really a special day for Plan, and the reason you have all been invited is because we value the partnership we have with all of you. And as we start this new strategy, which is about ending teenage pregnancy and all forms of violence against girls, we want you to know that you are a most appreciated partner in this journey that we are just starting. And I don't want to say much about the strategy. I know it is a bold strategy. I know many of you have been involved in its development, but we look forward to working with you all in this journey, and most welcome once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, Mr. Patrick, for those very few remarks. Indeed, you were true to the word. For the viewers that are at home, I am so sure this is the time that you have been waiting for, and this is the moment where we get to recognize every single person that is joining us virtually. So I hope the media team will be able to assist me in projecting the people from the different units, and so we can just give them a few seconds to be able to wave at us, and then we will be able to recognize them. So we have with us virtually a team from Kwale. We also have, if we can also be having them, just wave at the crowd as we mentioned them. We have a team from Kwale. We also have a plant team from Kilifi. We have people from Tana River. We also have a team from Nairobi that is joining us that couldn't be able to make it to the physical meet. We have people from the Rakanithi. We also have people from Kisumu, Bondo, Homa Bay, Matu, and finally Kajiado, and all other individuals who are probably not part of the plan unit, but are joining us today for this event. Thank you very much, and you're well appreciated for making time to join us in this event today. Are we able to see them? Are we able to see them? If not, we would probably be able to do that later as the program proceeds. Now, to the next part of the program, I would like to invite us to turn our attention to the screens. We will have a short video about a young lady who became a teen mom. And, having to go through that experience and thinking as though her dreams had been cut short, but Plan International was able to intervene and make sure that she dreams again. Let's turn our attentions to the screen.
When I was in primary school, I've been dreaming that when I join Form 1, I'll work hard in these subjects which could lead me to join nursing. I was in Form 1 at 15 years old. That was when I met that boyfriend of mine. I realized that I was pregnant in Form 2. I really panicked. After 45 months, that was when my mom realized that I was pregnant. She started quarreling me every now and again, that it reached a time she expelled me out of her home. So it forced me to go to that man.
Yawang kabisa nikech kalure kaka chandra ngata chiel ta chandrane ni mondo dhi school osom karo dhi mana manyo chuo. Koro kane oseng'isa kamano to penje nti mako ich nang'o yawa makoro idwa kudo wiya marach.
I lived with the man for 2 years. Life there was not easy. After giving birth, it was getting difficult to me. The man started to change. He could even take the drugs and not knowing whatever is taking place in the house. Na ukimwambia tena nataka tu akupige. And I told her that, Mommy, life here is not easy to me, even if I made a mistake.
Nakone ni dhiyo kadwari, nakone ni kuodo wiya. Nikech athagra tan kenda ngata chiel, tadwa ni mondo usom, tai koro imako ich, koro itimo nang'o. Koro kure mane entie, takone ni bidala.
After coming back, I told my mom that I want to get back to school. She told me that it won't be that easy because she can't manage that school fee for 3.
In Girls Advocacy Alliance, we have different strategies that we are using to ensure that we intervene properly on these issues affecting girls. We empower the girls so that they're able to come up and speak for themselves on issues affecting them. We are also doing a lot of awareness creations in the community, not targeting only girls, but targeting the boys, targeting the parents, and also targeting the community leaders. Some of these girls get traumatized in the places they get married to. They go through gender-based violence. So the community-based organizations support on trauma counseling, on one-on-one mentorship, so that they are able to make decisions about their lives. Some of these girls dropped out of schools and they will still have a vision of going back to schools. So we support them to re-enroll back to school and also to re-enroll in the vocational trainings where they're able to get empowered with some skills.
we have around 6 girls that has been assisted by plan.
Koro un bende usejola maber. Usejola usechudone kalure gi kaka odhi school. Kech en bende ogeno gimoro maber mbele. Be momiyo dok nuoyo class.
I really thank my mom for allowing me back and taking care of the daughter. I would like her to be leading a better life than the one we live with my mom.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Plan International, for that video that just goes on to show that dreams can only be delayed, but not entirely discarded, and that girls, highlighting that girls really do face some unique challenges. Now, the next speaker on stage is a lady whose reputation precedes her. This is a lady that is currently the country director of Plan International Kenya, who has a wide range of experience when it comes to serving, and also has served for about 20 years in different areas in managing programs across education, child protection, social welfare systems. In health, she's also served in Eastern and Southern Africa, and she's also served at one point as the Sub-Saharan Regional Director for Education Development. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming on stage Kate Mainavoli, the current Country Director for Plan International. You're welcome.
You'll allow me to remove my mask. I notice we've sanitized. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, to the Kenyan children and youth, Honorable Solomon Chelugui, Cabinet Secretary for Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Honorable Olen Tutu, the Chief Administrative Secretary at the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Dr. Mohamed Sheikh, Director General for National Council for Population Development, Dr. Richard Erbach, Deputy Development Director, British High Commission, Madam Sylvia Chidodo, the CEC Public Administration at Kwale County, and representing His Excellency Salim Mvurya, the Governor for Kwale County, honorable guests from civil society in Kenya, our partners, youth advocates that are present here today physically and online, members of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. On behalf of Plan International Kenya, I take great pleasure in welcoming you all to this official launch of our 5-year strategic plan covering 2021 to 2026. The strategic plan that we are launching today is the blueprint around which Plan International Kenya will partner with young people, government, like-minded stakeholders to address the unique needs of a specific subset of children and young people, a subset of whom are undoubtedly facing a myriad of injustices and are marginalized. As most of you know, we've been in Kenya since 1982, and we have been working with girls and with their communities and with boys to ensure transformative change that is sustainable. Since 1982, Plan International Kenya has recorded remarkable achievements, making it distinguishable as a thought leader and a leading organization on issues pertaining to child protection, education, and on girls' agency through girls-led advocacy, and is considered by many a trusted partner, not just in Kenya, but around the globe. We are committed to our global purpose to advance children's rights and equality for girls. Our development programs over the years in Kenya have cut across several sectors, including but not limited to early childhood care and development, education, protection, health and HIV/AIDS, resilience building, and youth employability and entrepreneurship. This is a very important day for us as we reflect on the gains we have made in our last strategy that just concluded in June this year. The journey was fraught with challenges, lessons learned, and we made great progress too, and recorded some notable achievements that we're very proud of. We also reflected on who we were as an organization, our strengths and our capacities, and we drove purposeful, wide-ranging transformations as an organization to ensure readiness for this new strategy that we are launching today. We adapted and we innovated. Indeed, COVID-19 showed us how to innovate for those we seek to serve. Through strategic and tactical partnerships with you all who are gathered here today and others beyond, we reached over 6 million children, both boys and girls, through various direct interventions, and were notably applauded by the Kenya NGO Board and our government for our specific contributions to children as a result of our work in the early childhood care and development and education sector and in child protection. Our influencing and advocacy work ensured that we reached millions of Kenyan children through our support to government, ensuring an enabling, conducive policy environment where children can thrive. In developing this new strategic plan that we are unveiling today, Plan International is cognizant of the progress made in protecting childhoods. We are mindful of the great strides that our government has made in creating an enabling policy environment that supports the realization of children's rights in Kenya. We're also cognizant of the new realities of living in the midst of a pandemic and what that has meant for Kenyans and how the pandemic has eroded gains made in the journey towards gender equality in Kenya. We all know too well how children, especially girls and young women in Kenya, have found themselves vulnerable to abuse, violence, and exclusion. It will therefore not be a surprise to any of you in this room today and with us virtually to note that the strategy we are unveiling today is unequivocal in protecting the most vulnerable, those who face injustices and are excluded. The strategic plan has been developed through several consultative processes involving various stakeholders. It was undoubtedly, and truth be told, a very long process. But it was done so deliberately with a view to ensure that we had the highest level of inclusivity and we had space for deep reflections, both within Plan International and externally with key stakeholders. We did a lot of listening. We listened to children, both boys and girls, and to our Kenyan youth. We listened to the communities we work with. We listened to government, both at national and county level, and to our partners, both in country and outside of Kenya, most of whom are with us today physically and also attending this launch virtually. We analyzed the data, and it told us a story. And one of the most shocking sets of data that we analyzed was the notable increased rates of unintended pregnancies and sexual abuse and restricted access to essential sexual and reproductive health information and services. We acknowledged our very youthful population in Kenya. We also acknowledged the bottlenecks in achieving gender equality. We also did a lot of reflections. We took time to reflect as Plan International, and we reflected deeply. And as we reflected, the world woke up to the realities of COVID-19. We can all agree that we are living in unprecedented times, and we're living through a major global pandemic that has wreaked havoc around the world, exacerbated the intensity and range of human rights violations, and exposed deep inequalities that have existed for far too long. We reflected as Plan International on how these challenges are rolling back the gains we have made as a country. We reflected on the glaring gender inequalities in Kenya and what it means for girls and women in this country, who, by the way, represent over 50% of Kenya's population, and we reflected on what that means for an organization whose purpose is to advance children's rights and equality for girls. The strategy was developed given the context and the foregoing situation that we called upon us to develop a very ambitious strategy. We are making a bold stand to support Kenyan children, and particularly adolescent girls and young women. We will respond decisively to girls' needs and to young women's needs. We will respond and provide support efforts that prevent violations of human rights from happening to other girls. Friends, I proudly share Plan International's Kenya 5-year strategy for 2021 to 2026, which is aimed at ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against girls and young women. This is how we want to show up for girls, and this is how we want to show up for young women in Kenya today. We want to make sure that the world is more equal for them, and there's an equal world where all children thrive, including girls. We are deepening our focus on girls and young women while not leaving men and boys behind. We recognize that while we work for children in Kenya, girls, especially adolescent girls, are disproportionately affected and face a unique set of challenges. The video that we just saw of Mercy Acheng is a sober reminder of some of the issues that our girls are facing. And I don't think as Kenyans and as people who live in Kenya, we can contest what the data is telling us about the inequalities that girls and young women are facing. The strategy outlines a vision for the future and the strategic goals that define how we will be successful for children and in an ever-challenging and changing environment, and reaffirms our commitment as Plan International to advancing children's rights and equality for girls, while recognizing that girls, as I mentioned, are disproportionately affected. Our ambition is to reach 2.75 million children and young people by 2026 with direct programming, and in addition, our influencing efforts that will focus on sexual reproductive health and rights, protection from all forms of violence, disaster risk mitigation and climate change, and climate adaptation, as well as youth employability and entrepreneurship. These are the 4 strategic choices we have made. Key to delivering transformational and lasting change for girls and young women will be mobilizing to change harmful beliefs and norms that drive root causes of gender inequality, supporting and growing the agency of girls in advocating for their own rights, calling out injustices, holding duty bearers to account, and talking truth to power. Thirdly, we will also be growing our value-based alliances and partnerships as a core component of Plan International's program and influencing efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a critical point in Kenya, and it is time to make bold moves. I am ambitious for Plan International Kenya. The Plan International Kenya team is ambitious for the Kenyan children and youth, and particularly for our girls and young women. We can and will build on the great work and achievements from our past work in Kenya and the results we have achieved from our last country strategy to ensure we deepen our reach and our impact by consolidating the gains we have made. In addition, we know that we can only achieve this bold ambition of ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of gender-based violence against girls and young women through partnerships. Partnerships with children themselves, both boys and girls, partnerships with youth, partnerships with the communities we work in, partnerships with the private sector, with government and civil society stakeholders. With these partnerships, the goal we aspire to will become a reality, translating into milestones of which we can all be proud of. I invite you all to join hands with us as we strive for lasting change. There is no better time than now to reaffirm our commitment to the Kenyan children, especially to the girls and young women and the communities we serve, and to supporting the Kenya government to build back better for all, enabling children and youth, especially girls and young women, to play a leading role where they can be equally seen, heard, and valued. Plan International will play its part. We will play our role in ensuring that the voice of children, especially girls, are heard where it matters and when it matters to them. We will play our part to fulfill the promise of the 2030 global goals. There are 100 million reasons why we want to do this. On my behalf, and on behalf of the entire Plan International Kenya team that I'm so proud to lead, we commit to actively implement this strategic plan. Please join hands with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kate, for those remarks and highlighting Plan International's achievements. And I hope that it was very clear that now we are working towards ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against girls and young women. Thank you very much, Kate, for that. Now, the next speaker is Dr. Muhammad A. Sheikh. He is the Director General for National Council for Population Development, popularly known as NCPD, and his docket is mandated with ending teenage pregnancies. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing us. You may have the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please applaud him as he takes the stage. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our CS, Honorable Simon Chelugui, the Cabinet Secretary for Labor and Social Protection, Honorable Olen Tutu, the Chief Administrative Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection, the representative of the Governor of Kwale, Madam Sylvia Chidodo, Dr. Richard Ellerbach, the Deputy Development Director, British High Commission, Kate Maina, Volley, the Director for Plan International. It's not easy to speak after you. I know they were not fair to me. I will have spoken before you. But fellow government representative, members from the CSOs and the media, all guests present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm pleased to join you today as you launch the Plan International Kenya 5-year country strategic plan that is from 2021 to 2026. It's such great news that adolescent girls and young women take center stage in your new country strategic plan. And I just seen from your speech, I think that's the direction that you are taking, and we are very happy to be part of this. The National Council for Population and Development is a semi-autonomous government agency under the National Treasury and Planning, and is mandated to promote, coordinate the implementation of population and development programs and policy in Kenya. NCPD is to be proud to be associated with Plan International, where we have worked previously and very closely on issues of adolescent and teenage pregnancy. And I trust, as you said, indeed you are a trusted partner in this endeavor. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, you know the most important resource of any nation is its people, and that's why NCPD is mandated to look at issues of population development. And when it comes to population, very paramount is adolescent and the youth. Adolescents lay the foundation for a quality population and prosperous nation, in particular the health of well-being of girls and women. As a government, although we have made progress and strides in improving the status of girls and women, Kenya is still among the countries with the highest burden of teenage pregnancy and motherhood, where 1 in every 5 teenage girls between the age of 15 and 19 is either pregnant with their first child or have given birth. This prevalence has not changed for the last decade. To give you more statistics, adolescent girls account for 14% of the births in Kenya. That is, annually here in this country, we have 1.2 to 1.4 deliveries. And out of that, I think that's around a third of it are girls aged between the age of 10 to 20 years. 98% of girls who have ever been pregnant are out of school, 98%. 63% of the pregnancies among adolescents in Kenya are unintended. Approximately 1/3 of all unintended pregnancies end in abortions, and about half of all severe abortions are amongst adolescent girls. The list does not stop there. About 3 out of 10 female of age between 18 and 24 experience varied forms of violence in the past 12 months. Almost 1 in every 4 of girls in Kenya are married before the age of 18 years. Girls in volatile environment, homes or setups where SGPV is perpetrated are more vulnerable to abuses. For communities who cut girls aged 12 to 14 years, child marriage is the next step after the cut. Girls living in poor households are twice likely to marry under the age of 18 as girls in high income, as compared to as girls in high income households. The above challenges and statistics vary from rural to urban. It varies from families, backgrounds, it varies from communities and cultural setups and income levels, and it varies across all sectors. NCPD, together with other stakeholders, launched what we call the Let's Act to End Teenage Pregnancy campaign in 2020. This campaign is part of the implementing the ICPD commitments, where we committed to end teenage pregnancy by 2030, and also end harmful practices including child marriage and female genital mutilation by 2022, and ensure 100% transition. As you all are aware, in 2019 we held what we call the ICPD 25 conference, which was held in Nairobi. And this conference, Kenya made commitments, 17 commitments. On those 17 commitments were more on zero maternal mortality, zero gender-based violence, and zero unmet need. So teenage pregnancy was one of the commitments. By 2030, we must end teenage pregnancy. Subsequently, NCPD has been coordinating the multi-sectoral stakeholders to discuss and develop solutions to address teenage pregnancy. And on this front, NCPD has coordinated formations of committees at various levels, starting with the Principal Secretary at national level. This is chaired by the Principal Secretary, State Department of Planning. And also we have coordination mechanism at the county level, which is chaired by the county commissioners, where we have the technical working groups. NCPD has gone further to coordinate formation of parents and teachers associations network in the counties, and we are mobilizing resources to ensure that these networks are cascaded to the lower levels as one of the key tasks on ending teenagers. And that's why Plan International, because we work with them very closely, have invited us to make remarks in this meeting. Thank you very much for inviting us to make this statement here. Thank you. NCPD with other stakeholders have developed an action plan to end teenage pregnancy. It is currently awaiting validation by wider stakeholders. It is envisaged that the action in this document will address these vices that we have discussed for so long. And we can only achieve this if we work as a team. This will call for us all to create synergy so that the few resources available can go a long way in preventing and stopping these vices. In conclusion, ending teenage pregnancy can be effectively delivered through a sustained multi-sectoral approach that not only focuses on adolescent behavior changes, but also seeks to address the underlying economic, social, and cultural factors that translate to a pregnancy. There is need to have harmonized and coordinated a multi-sectoral approach and ensure mainstreaming of health, social, economic, and development issues affecting adolescents and young people that will intensify the prevention of the problem of adolescent and youth that faces them today. Lastly, I want to congratulate Plan International Kenya for noticing the need and taking a bold step to help in ending teenage pregnancy and all forms of violence against girls and young women. Madam Kate, I believe in this move, and I wish you and your stakeholders all the best. CS, I'm happy that today you're here. NCPD have been coordinating this endeavor in ending teenage pregnancy, and I know you have taken a lot of effort in supporting us, and we appreciate your support in this endeavor. Teenage pregnancy is we consider as a developmental issue, and that's why NCPD has taken, the leading role in advising the government in ending this program, in this menace. Why we are focused on teenage pregnancy, sir, is that look at the number of years lost for a girl who gets pregnant at the age of 10 years, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years. At the age of 14, you're not going to school, you're going to drop out of school. You just get either married or you may not be married. But then you have lost the opportunity of becoming a professor, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever it is. So that's why really we are concerned, and we're considering this as a developmental issue, not only as a social, cultural, and other factors, but as a developmental issue. So ladies and gentlemen, I think I congratulate Plan International really for taking these bold steps. We need to really reach out to those 2.5 million children in Kenya and prevent this menace. Thank you very much, and have a good day. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed, for stating those numbers which paint a clear picture of how dire the situation is in the country. And we're also grateful that the government is recognizing that this is indeed a problem and that we should start making critical steps towards curbing it before it becomes even worse than it is right now. Now, we often ask ourselves the question, why then have a lot of emphasis on empowering the girl? Why invest so much in the girl? And basically, just the previous speaker has talked about how the nation's greatest resource is its people. And so it's important to actually put in a lot of resources and a lot of energy in investing in young women so that, and young girls, so that we can be able to curb and to also cut off the cycle of poverty. Because if we have young girls dropping out from school and then going and giving birth and they do not even have a source and a means of income, then the same will be perpetuated over to other generations. We will be joined by a lady who will be speaking to us. Her name is Beatrice. Beatrice Akinyi is a 21-year-old girl. She's from Kisumu, and she's one of the girl advocates, and she's also a teen mom. But she is currently at the Kisumu Polytechnic pursuing social work, and she's doing amazing, amazing things together with her fellow students at the university. And she's gone through a lot of training on youth advocacy, budgeting process, and she's joining us today virtually so that she can get to talk to us about the importance of investing in girls. Beatrice, if you're ready, let's turn our attentions to the screen and let's listen in on Beatrice. Beatrice, say hi if you can hear me. Say hello. As Beatrice is readying herself to be able to join us, just say hello whenever you're ready so that you can join us. As I had previously mentioned, I am one of the girl advocates of Plan International, and I've been on this journey with them for the longest while. I think I got to be an advocate from when I was 15. I was in Form 2 then. Now I'm in university. I'm in my third year. So I'm quite an old girl at Plan International. And from me, you can be able to see a testament of what investing in girls really brings out. Because from then, I was able to, harness and grow my speaking skills and standing in front of people, and to be able to sit and engage decision makers, and to be able to clearly voice out what is important to girls and what is important for me and what is required for me. I've been empowered to the sense that now I can actually be able to engage people and talk about things that matter in the nation. I am the very first from my family to have been able to step on a plane and to be able to travel to a different country so that I am able to go and engage other people, meet other young people and other stakeholders who are very interested in matters girls. So really, you can see from me smiling today. Well, you can't see it because of my mask, but it's okay. Smiling today because someone made an investment in me, and now they're reaping the returns. They might not be doing that directly, but the nation is reaping from my returns. So, Beatrice, if you can be able to say hi, we are ready for you. Let's give her time so that she will be able to join us. So we'll probably move on to the next part of the program. And this is where I invite my colleague Janet to come and take over from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hope. And not to belabor the point, but isn't she incredible? She really is. Oh my, thank you. I think we'll try and see how much we can bring up some of the videos and interviews we're able to. I know we live in a virtual world right now, and sometimes connectivity is an issue, but we'll try our best because there are some incredible video assets that we feel you need to look at. Whether it's about girls who are able to take over from leaders and lend their voice to agency, whether it's about male champions in the form of Masai Morans who are really playing their part in supporting women and girls. So we'll try our best to show those videos, so please bear with us as we're able to bring those through. And I think as Hope was speaking, and as of course some of our esteemed speakers have also said, it really comes down to investing in girls. It comes down to saying something and following through. Plan International is very action-oriented. I know that because we've worked together. I've been incredibly lucky to partner with them on a TV series called Rewrite Her Story. And I was able to see firsthand what investing in girls, believing in them, even those who didn't think they could rewrite their stories, it makes a difference. A girl who was burdened by gender-based violence, being able to start a small business, save for herself, and eventually start building a small home, and now telling us she's eagerly awaiting getting married. That's a powerful story. That's what investing in girls is. I'm very big on action and solutions. Maybe it's the journalist in me, I don't know. So while sometimes it's great to have conversations, I'm way more invested when I see the action taking place. And let's take that with us today. This country strategy launch is for all of us to figure out how are we plugging in our own little way to come to bring a lot of these to action, to fruition. If there's anything I've learned recently is that every single person has a little role to play, no matter how small. So once again, it's a big milestone for the organization, and we're just proud to see the work that's going to be done in future. And so we are going to continue with our remarks this morning and with our speakers. I would now like to invite the High Commission Representative, Deputy Development Director, British High Commission, Dr. Richard Earlbach, to come and give us some remarks. Let's welcome him to the stage. Thank you.
Honourable Cabinet Secretary, Chief Administrative Secretary, Regional Director, Country Director, County Representatives, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's a pleasure for me to be invited here today for the launch of Plan International's 5-year country strategy. Having listened to previous speakers, I am struck that I am probably the least qualified to speak on this subject. And actually, I have found the speeches, the energy of previous speakers quite inspiring. And listening to women and girls stand up and speak so eloquently on this subject does much more than anything I could possibly say in the next few minutes. So please don't feel you have to listen to me. Listen to the other people and be inspired in the same way that I have been. Ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of gender-based violence against girls and young women. That's what we're here for today. As I've said, this energy, this moment to launch this plan is a wonderful moment. And as previous speakers have said, it's action following this launch today which will make a difference to women and girls. And that's what I would like to keep our focus on what's to come. Because the UK is often seen as a champion, a global leader on gender equality, but we have so much to learn from each other. The UK still has a gender gap. We're currently at 77% roughly. There is not gender equality in the UK. In fact, globally, there aren't many countries that can say that they have achieved that. It's something that we should all be striving for. And so I'm not here to preach or to say that there's much for you to learn from the UK. I think it's about how we work together and create those partnerships that the country director has spoken about. It's partnerships which will help us achieve this goal of gender equality and address the challenges which girls face, whether it's early pregnancies, teenage pregnancies, or gender-based violence. COVID, we haven't spoken about it much, but it has had a huge impact and a disproportionate impact socioeconomically on women and girls. And we've seen statistics going in the wrong direction as a result of this pandemic over the last few years. What does the UK, how can the UK support Kenya, and how can we work together? I just want to spend 1 minute on this issue of collaboration and partnerships. We've had some good examples of how we have worked together. The Global Education Summit, which some of you may be aware of, was held in the UK in July, and it was co-hosted between the UK and Kenya. Prime Minister Johnson, President Kenyatta, sharing a stage to advocate for girls' education and to raise over $4 billion to support education globally. We're also co-members of the Gender-Based Violence Action Coalition, which aims to promote key policies and actions which will make a difference to the lives of women and girls. So those are just two examples where we work together, the UK and Kenya work together to achieve our goals with regards women, girls, and gender equality. I want to congratulate Kenya for bold commitments on gender-based violence. The President has made the public commitment to end FGM in Kenya by the end of 2022. And this is a great example for others in the region and globally. And it's an example of Kenya really taking that global stage and making a difference. Finally, I just want to return to the issue of plans, strategy, country strategy. And I wanted to congratulate you on your progress over the last 5 years. It is inspiring, and I commend you for the strategy going forwards. I look forward to working together with Plan, the government of Kenya, and many other partners who are trying to make a difference in this area to help girls throughout Kenya to achieve their ambitions. As I said, it is important we all learn from each other. And I think as we see progress in delivering on this country strategy, I hope that there is an opportunity for us all to learn so that the next country strategy can have even greater impact, both here in Kenya and globally. On that note, thank you.
Thank you so much for those remarks. In a few moments, we'll be playing a video called Girls Take Over, so please be on standby for that. And in the meantime, I'd like to invite our next speaker, representing His Excellency Salim Mvurya, Governor of Kwale County, represented by CEC Public Administration, Madam Sylvia Chidodo, to please make her way to the stage to give her remarks. Let's appreciate her as she makes her way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janet. Greetings from Kwale County, and more so from His Excellency Governor Salim Mvurya, who is a great friend of Plan International. He could not be here with us today, but in the same spirit of friendship, Kwale County is well represented. Kindly allow me to read his speech. Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Honorable Simon Chelogwe. Chief Administrative Secretary, Honorable Patrick Olentutu. National Gender and Equality Commission, Commissioner Priscilla Nyokabi. The Deputy Development Director, British High Commission, Mr. Richard. County Director, Plan International, Kenya, Kate. Dr. Mohammed from the Director, National Council on Population Development. Distinguished guests, colleagues from Plan International, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let me first take this opportunity to thank Plan International for inviting me to be part of yet another milestone in putting in place a country strategic plan that will enable them achieve their goals. It gives me a great pleasure and pride to join the Plan International fraternity and all the invited guests as we launch the Plan International Country Strategic Plan 2021 to 2026. Having been in the organization before, I'm greatly honored to be part of this great occasion. I also wish to congratulate Plan International for their continued leadership in the advocacy of children's rights in the country. This strategic plan is in tandem with my vision for Kwale County that we need to empower girls in young people with the relevant skills leading towards less dependency and enable them realize their full potential. I do recognize the work done by Plan International in Kwale County and the country at large. They have been a key foundation on the community development interventions throughout. Ladies and gentlemen, in the spirit of upholding the rights of children, one being the right to education, my government has put in place the Elimu ni Sasa initiative that provides full scholarship to students at the national schools and universities throughout the country, as well as county and extra-county schools. Honorable Chief Guest, the fund has achieved tremendous progress over the years. A total of 5,220 students have so far received full scholarship for their secondary school education in national schools, and out of the 5,220, 2,038 students are girls. In relation to university education, we have a total of 3,286 students that have also benefited on the program, out of which 1,200 again are girls. The fund also provides bursary to a total of 30,179 students in county and extra-county schools. Ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to recognize the efforts by Plan International in advancing the rights of children and especially the girl child. Honorable Kwale County has had a very good working relationship with Plan International and all other CSOs and NGOs that are both within the county and outside the county. We are always very open to partnerships and stakeholders that will reach out to us in relations to issues of development within the county. The other day, Honorable CS, you visited Kwale County together with Madam Kate, and we were able to launch the Child Protection Unit. And we have continued working very closely with Plan International in other major pillars that are stated in your strategic plan, mainly being sexual and reproductive health, gender-based violence against girls and young women. And so as a county, we have been able to put many other interventions in place to ensure that we address the same. I also wish to note that Kwale is among the counties that face the challenges brought about by COVID-19 pandemic, and we wish to thank Plan International for the assistance and support that they accorded us during this period. They have gone a very long way in assisting the county manage the pandemic. With this new strategic plan in place, I have no doubt that Plan International will continue to greatly achieve all that it has aspired to as an institution and organization. Our chief guest and colleagues from Plan International, I wish to affirm and make assurance of our commitment in working closely with Plan International and all other stakeholders that advocate for the protection of children and especially girls. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end by congratulating Plan International on the launch of their strategic plan 2021-2026 and wishing them the very best as they implement the same, ending teenage pregnancy and all forms of violence against girls and young women. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Thank you.
We believe that if we don't deal with this scourge, our society will never, ever be fully transformed, because no one is free until every woman is free. I invite all men, both here and at home, to use their male dominance to advance equality and equity for all, because there is power in fighting this together. Let us become the Abatangamucho in Burundi, who stand up against all forms of violence against women. My desire now is to see a new generation of young people who want change now and who are willing to do what it takes to make change happen. The launch of this strategy is not only a wonderful beginning, but also a continuation of tremendous work that Plan International is doing. The strategy will restore hope to many people like me and other people in my community, and I hope that everyone out there with a dream will see it come to pass, and that no one will be limited because of their gender, age, or ability. I welcome you all to see the light, to join the movement now, today, and those watching from at home, vijana, my youth, naambia jo, riang ni kustand firm. Riang ni kustand firm na kusema manze historia kubagua madem inafaa iishe. Kila mtu akuwe na opportunity ya kudream na achieve dreams zake. Riang ni kustand firm. Sema tena, riang ni kustand firm. Thank you all. I'm so honored to be here.
Thank you, Calvin. It is such a joy to hear young men that are very vocal in this endeavor for equality. Thank you very much. I need not add anything, lest it waters down the powerful message that he has just sent out. Now, coming next is a young lady who is set to join Kenyatta University and is a young girl advocate from Kwale County who is today going to give us her very own composition in Kiswahili. Mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetutosha. Karibu Rehema.
Habari ya asubuhi. Kwa majina naitwa Rehema Hamisi kutoka Kwale County. Niko tayari kuhania shairi lenye mada mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Nalipiga baragumu kwa hapa na wakule, nyote mpate fahamu, janga hili vile vile sikilifi hata Lamu, Kenya nzima ni kelele, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Umekuwa kauele, jamani usotibika, kila siku nyingi ndele, wazazi watabika, wasichana chungu tele, masomo yanachika, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Sio la sita darasa, kidato cha pili hasa, vimezidi hivi visa, kwa kupenda tu anasa, eti mwatafuta pesa, kwa kufata masiponsa, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Umekuwa ni mkasa, Kenya nzima ya lalama, kwa kuzidi hivi visa, watoto kuando mama, la tuchosha hili kosa, mioyo inatuma, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Wazazi wategemea, Kenya nayo yalilia, watu waliobobea, uongozi kukalia, sio waliozembea, mkia kushikilia, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Wasichana amkeni, jamani tuzindukeni, muda umewadiani, visa hivi kuzikani, Kenya yetu kujengani, Kenya iwe namba 1, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. wazazi wategemea, Kenya nayo yalilia, watu waliobobea, uongozi kushikia, siya waliozembea, mkiani kubakia, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha. Tamati nimefikia, kalamu naweka chini, najua mumesikia, wasia wangu jamani, muda umewadiani, visa hivi kuzikani, mimba hizi za mapema, jamani zimetuchosha.
I do not even know what to say. Basically, you can get to see how this matter touches the very core and the very heart of young people who have been able to see what is happening on the ground. And this is clearly a depiction of how much of a dire situation we're in as a nation. And I hope that this sends out a very strong message. Now, Rehema is courageous enough to just talk to us and tell us what led to the inspiration of the creation of hii sherehe. Katika utunzi wa hii sherehe, hii shairi, what was the inspiration?
Okay. What inspired me a lot to write this poem is that it came to my notice that the cases are rising everywhere. It's not only in Kwale County, but everywhere, all over Kenya. You can see my neighbors, friends, relatives, classmates, schoolmates, the cases are rising. So I thought it's better if I write the poem. And as we know that women, girls are the mother of tomorrow, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Kenya has to be built by girls. Without girls, we have nothing. The world is built by girls. We are the future mothers of tomorrow. So if a girl is not educated, and we are told that 90% of the girls who get pregnant, they drop out of school. So where will we get the women representative in the future? We want even the higher post, like the presidential seat, women to be there. We can see that during elections, we can see that only few women are there to vie for that seat. It's because most of them are down there. They really need, but it's that they don't have the opportunity. They lacked the opportunity due to teenage pregnancy. So when we fight and stop teenage pregnancy, I'm sure that later on we can have female president. We can have most of the seats held by women up there.
Thank you very much, Rehema. Another round of applause for Rehema. What a timely day to launch this new country strategy. It comes just in time to be able to save us from this scourge that Rehema says, once we do away with this, we will be able to actually have women in positions of power as far as the presidential seat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rehema. You may take your seat. This is the moment where I invite the media team to just be able to put up a video that reinforces the voice of men in this endeavor to be able to bring equality and end violence against young girls and women.
Mimi ni mrani huko Masaini. Mrani inamaanisha ni mtu mdogo ambaye amefika miaka ambayo anafaa kutetea haki ya community yao. Mimi kama Masai najivunia sana kuwa Masai. Napenda mila na desturi za Kimasai, lakini kuna zile ambazo zimepitwa na wakati ambazo sikubaliana nazo. Moja, ukeketaji wa wasichana, mimba za mapema na kuoleka kwa mapema. Akiwa msichana hawezi pewa nafasi ya kuingia shule kwa maana wanasema kazi yao tu ni kwenda kwa mzee. Pili, nimeona wanadhulumiwa kwa kukeketwa. Hata kabla afikie miaka 18, hata wale ambao wameingia shule wakikeketwa kidogo, wanaambiwa amka sasa, umekuwa mwanamke. Umekuwa mwanamke sasa, unaweza fanya kila kitu ambayo mwanamke hufanya. Sisi kama Moran tumekutana kwanza, sisi wenyewe tumekubali ya kwamba hawa wanawake ni wetu. Hawa wasichana ambao wapewi nafasi ya kusoma ama wanakeketwa na lazima ni sisi ndio tutaoa. Kwa hivyo kwanza sisi tumekubali hii ni changamoto kwa wanawake. Kwa hivyo kitu ya kwanza tuliungana kama warani, tukasikizana, tukatoka tukakutana na watu wa motorbikes, tukaongea nao kuhamasisha kuhusu haki ya msichana. Tukiongelea haki ya msichana, hiyo tunaongelea kwa ujumla haki ya wanawake. Hata kwa makanisa tunatangaza, tunaweka kama ni announcement. Kwa hivyo tumehamasisha watu kupitia hizo veranda tofauti tofauti. Pia huwa tunakutana katika community dialogues, ambao hata tukisikia kuna mkutano fulani tunaenda tunazungumzia, tunahamasisha, tunaambia though tunapitia pia changamoto mingi kwa sababu tumejulikana. Ndio ni wale vijana tu wa kelele. Ni wale vijana tu wa kelele. Lakini sisi tunajua kenye tunatafuta. Na tunajua ile message ambayo tunapeleka kwa community. Kile ambacho kinanisukuma sana nifanye hii kazi ni moja, nimeona kuna hatari mbele yetu sana sisi kama Wamasai. Na nimeona wasichana wengi, mimi niko na kina dada wengi ama wale wasichana ambao tumetoka kwa mama moja, na nimeona wanateseka mali wako. Kwa hivyo ninataka kufanya hii kazi kuhakikisha hata hawa wasichana akienda kwake, hata kama hata msaidia mzazi wake, lakini ajisaidie yeye mwenyewe. Kwa hivyo ni haki yetu na ni muhimu sana tuwatetee pia hawa kina mama. Tukiokoa kina mama ama tukiokoa na yale madhara ambayo yanapitia, ni kama tumeokoa ulimwengu mzima. Happy International Women's Day.
The agenda to improve the lives of women and girls over the last few years has to an extent been accelerated by the involvement of male allies. We can't take that for granted. Yes, well, we're building a future where girls need to be empowered, need to be able to take up their seats the way the lovely Rehema has just told us. We truly also need male allies. And I've been in this space maybe 7-8 years, and to be honest, we've seen it more and more. It does make a significant difference when community champions in the field, Morans, other male champions are standing for girls and women, because whether or not we want to admit it, a lot of the times they are the custodians of the patriarchy that keeps women and girls from not moving forward. So it makes a really big difference when they say, we see how this is important for our communities. So thank you for that video on male champions. Thank you, Rehema, for your honesty. We hear you, we see you, and I think it's important that we validate the voices of teen moms and adolescent girls across this country. It's a real cry for help. And when we come here and gather here on moments like this to unveil a strategy, we have to think about what it is going to do, the impact, the ripple effect. And people's lives depend on it. People's lives literally depend on a lot of what's being captured in the strategy, much like the one that's being unveiled today. So once again, my thing is always action, do what you can, and let's make sure that they feel seen and they feel heard. And so with that, I know very soon we'll be coming to the unveiling. And before that though, I would now like to invite Honorable Priscilla Nyokabi Kinyua, who will make some remarks as the National Gender and Equality Commission. So let's welcome her to the stage. Karibu.
Thank you all for this, and I just want to mention the subject of my topic before I do the protocol. It is the importance of male involvement in gender equality and eradicating or fighting teenage pregnancy. The CS, Honorable Simon Chelugui, who's also a friend, thank you very much. We nicknamed him Baba Watoto at the NGC, so thank you very much, Baba Watoto. Thank you. Ntutu, Cass Ntutu, who we served with in Parliament, in the 11th Parliament. Ms. Kate Minor, the Country Director, Plan International, thank you very much and congratulations for this fund. I saw that Dr. Sam, I think couldn't make it, I was going to be happy to see him here, but he's done a lot of work on these areas. And all of those who spoke before me, including the young voices, the voices from the children and the young people, and all protocols observed, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I wish on behalf of the National Gender and Equality Commission to join Plan International and all of you at this important launch of their 5-year country strategic plan. Let me acknowledge at the outset the collaboration that the Commission, the National Gender and Equality Commission, has had with Plan International on diverse issues of child protection throughout the years. We remain very grateful for that partnership and look forward. We hope we're in the plan somewhere, in the new plan as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Gender and Equality Commission is a constitutional commission established by the National Gender and Equality Commission Act number 15 of 2011 under Article 59(4) and 5 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. The Commission's mandate is to promote gender equality and freedom from discrimination for all the people in Kenya, with a focus on special interest groups, which include women, children, youth, persons with disabilities, older members of society, minorities and marginalized groups. And there are new minorities coming in. I was just outside to meet Chigiti, Senior Counsel Chigiti, who's written a book on intersex persons. So new minorities as well. Kenya has grappled with the challenge of teenage pregnancies over the years, but the problem has been exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic. The country responded to the pandemic by closure of schools, restricting movement, and dedicating most healthcare services to COVID-19. While these actions were necessary, they made access to sexual and reproductive health services more challenging. And throughout the year 2020, Kenya media reported increased rates of teenage pregnancies. For instance, over the period of just 3 months, a 40% increase in the national monthly average on teenage pregnancies was recorded. Some counties had especially high rates. A 2020 report commissioned by Homa Bay County government and conducted by the Overseas Development Institute and LVCT, Health with support from UNICEF, found that 1/3 of adolescent girls aged between 15 to 19 in Homa Bay were either mothers or pregnant with their first child, which is almost twice the national average of 18% according to the 2014 demographic data. As the country attempts to curb the menace, it is necessary to involve men and women, boys and girls in the process. Men are partners in reproduction and sexuality. Men's reproductive health and behaviors affect women's health and children's well-being as well as the society. Global recognition of the importance of male involvement in sexual and reproductive health emanated from the 1994 International Conference on Population and Development held in Cairo. ICPD calls for an understanding of men and women's joint responsibilities so that they become equal partners in public and private life, to encourage and enable men to take responsibility for their sexual and reproductive behavior. Fertility and family has traditionally been ascribed to women. In most cases, adolescent boys initiate sex earlier than girls do, and they tend to accumulate more sexual partners over their lifetimes. It is therefore very crucial to include them in prevention efforts though the boys do not get pregnant. They need to be part of these conversations. They have sex earlier, more frequently, and with more partners than females of comparable ages. Puberty for boys is often considered as the onset of sexual desire and power that they can enjoy. Masculinity is generally not perceived as problematic, yet boys feel that their needs and questions about sexuality are not being addressed. There is a UNESCO report of 2014 that underscores this discussion. This is also confirmed by the findings of a report compiled and developed by the National Gender and Equality Commission on the age for sexual consent, launched in October 2020. And we have continued to urge the country to keep the age of sexual consent at 18 years. All our laws and our constitution support keeping the age of sexual consent at 18 years. And teenage pregnancies are not just because of relations between teenage boys and girls, but also caused by older men. And we now have a new conversation in the country on Romeo and Juliet, the teenage love or the child love for both of them being under 18. Child, early and forced marriage, cohabitation, they violate fundamental human rights and put girls in situation of vulnerability because of the power of disparity between the young bride and her husband. The early girl marriage. In sub-Saharan Africa, 4 in 10 girls marry before the age of 18. And 1 in 7 were married or in a union before the age of 15. And I'm happy that Cass is here. When we were passing the Marriage Act for our country in 2015, the most intense discussion was on setting the age of marriage at 18. I still don't understand why men want to marry people who are below 18. I just don't get it myself. But there was heavy discussion around that. And so this age of marriage and illegal marriage is something that we have to confront in our country, to keep the age of marriage at 18, to keep the age of sexual consent at 18, and to fight illegal marriage. And you see the figures and the statistics. It continues to be a very big problem in our country. During COVID-19 lockdown, there were many forms of violence that took place primarily, but also some that were found in our homes. The intimate partner violence and child abuse appear to have gone up. The lockdowns were meant to keep people safe by staying at home and isolating from one another and preventing coronavirus from spreading. But for many women and children, the home was never a safe place to begin with. The home was not safe before COVID, the home is not safe with COVID. Many victims were left trapped at home with their abusers. And this brings us to the point around the protection against domestic violence. Again, it was a difficult law. Patrick Woodnow in the 11th Parliament to pass that. Took the efforts of many male allies to pass the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act. I think that particular law needs to be implemented. Domestic places should be safe with or without the pandemic and with or without the COVID-19. Masculine expectations require men to always be powerful and in control. Some men may therefore feel threatened by the pandemic, that their masculine status are shakier than ever due to, for instance, the loss of livelihoods during the pandemic. They may seek to regain and reassert a sense of masculine power by asserting more dominance or exerting more dominance and control over their partners and children. Masculine norms are thus very central in escalation of abuse and explaining why we continue to have domestic violence in many countries, including our own, and including cases of increased femicide. I was just recently in a show in Kikuyu culture, Friday cultural show, and the discussion was around Kutuma Fair. And you know, I just don't understand why our country or young men think that Kutuma Fair, if the fare is not paid back, that is a reason for GBV. Kutuma Fair ni kama kuweka bet. Hiyo fare unaweza tuma bet ichome. So we have a long discussion around some of these masculine norms, masculine conversations, and masculine topics that are increasing GBV and SGBV in our country. Older men need to be role models to the younger men. The older men must teach the younger men how these things are done without violence and without SGBV. And we do have a boy-child report at NGC that underscores the role of male role models to the younger men and to the boy-child. Being isolated at home can place children at risk of sexual abuse from family members while having a lack of access to other adults such as teachers or social workers whom they could report the abuse to. Some of the harmful cultural practices such as FGM and child marriages have also been on the rise. And for us, the right to education is also part of the conversation on protecting our girls and children. Girls who have been away from school end up being easier to target, while the community-based prevention, protection, and support initiatives may not be accessible. Deepening poverty caused by the pandemic could lead to more parents marrying off their daughters early. This confirmation was also made by a report by the Commission on Child Pregnancies in the context of COVID-19 2020. And we will supply all these reports so that they can continue to form part of the strategies that plan will get into. In tackling violence against girls and young women, men have a responsibility to play, including by reflecting on their own attitudes and behaviors, modeling equitable and healthy relationships, and speaking out against violence towards women. The attention towards domestic violence during the pandemic represents a crucial opportunity to engage with more men and boys about the positive role that they can play in ending violence. Ideas about masculinity contribute significantly to social harms for women and girls, as well as for men and boys themselves. And it is important to point out that sodomy is also going up. And so the harm was traditionally to women and girls, but the harm is moving to boys as well. Ladies and gentlemen, in the interest of time, allow me to make some critical observations on the importance of male and boys' involvement. We have already mentioned that there is international consensus for engaging men and boys in promotion of gender equality. In the ICPD conference, Cairo 1994, in the Beijing conference 1995, in the UN, in the CSW, there is international consensus that men and boys must be engaged in promotion of gender equality. This is not a conversation for women. This is a social conversation. This is not a matter for women in Kenya. This is a matter for our country, a matter for all of us to be concerned about, men and boys included. Half of the population is male, and so therefore you cannot have a conversation with half a population. It must be a conversation for the entire population, the male gender included. GBV and HIV, although they affect women disproportionately, the main movers are men. And that means that men must be part of the conversation to eradicate GBV and to end HIV. Men influence families, relationships, communities, and policy in a disproportionate manner because they can use this power that they have to influence the society positively. Men have personal investment in challenging harmful norms because they stand to gain from a gender equitable world. A gender equitable world has gains for both men and women. Many men care about women who are important in their lives and therefore can serve as important allies for equality. Men are custodians of culture that promotes patriarchy and inequality. Forced wife inheritance, disinheritance of property are all aspects of patriarchy that men as custodians of culture can help to fight and eradicate. Men hold disproportionately more resources in the society, and we need resources to promote equality. These resources are in the hands of men. They should be released to the conversations that we are having. And I have been very happy to see the governor of Kwale and what the governor of Kwale is doing with the budgets that they have in Kwale to fight for gender equality. Nearly half of all the world's men have some connection to children as fathers, stepfathers, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, teachers, coaches or friends, and can mentor boys on equality. And men need to support women in reducing the burden that the women have, noting that women and girls carry majority of domestic work, yet they form 40% of the paid workforce. Again, something within the domain of the cabinet secretary that we have today present here with us. And just looking at Article 53 that we need to implement, I'm happy that the CS is here because the Children's Bill is an important tool in this conversation. In the Article 53 of the Constitution of Kenya, and whose implementation men and women need to be involved in, and that aligns our obligations in the children's sector to the Constitution of Kenya 2010. There's a lot of responsibilities there, including for the ministry, for the cabinet, but also for the president. And we support the very bold pronouncements that the president has made on FGM, that the president has made on GBV, and the president has made on femicide. And we ask that the men in power, some of who are in this room, the men in power need to lead us in the ending the bill and having the bill adopted in Parliament. And in the Parliament, the National Assembly, we have the male members of Parliament, but we also have male chairmen. The chairperson of the Committee on Social Welfare, where Children Matters Best, Honorable Kabinga, and Senator Sakaja are both male. And we need other male allies, Honorable Nikal, Senator Mutula. And now that Patrick and the minister are here, they need to lead us in getting more male champions for some of the laws that we need enacted. One other role for me, for men in our society, is the role of giving us an identity. The culture that I come from, you receive an identity from your father. And so it is very, very important that fathers continue to anchor us and to help us with the social norms and societal anchorage that we need. Mwachamila ni mtumwa. We have been able to find out that in African culture, children were protected. It is not African to abuse children. In fact, it is un-African to abuse children. And these African values we get from our fathers through identity, through our clans, and through our communities need to continue being anchored for every child. In terms of the FGM, we just watched the Samburu Declaration, where the Samburu elders have declared that they will help to fight FGM. If many men could join that fight, I think that the fight against FGM would end even faster and earlier. A study was done by FIDA, and I was happy to see the CEO here. And in that study a while back, young Maasai boys were asked if they would marry uncircumcised girls. And their answer was very telling. They would marry uncircumcised girls from the communities that do not circumcise. but they would not marry Maasai girls who were not circumcised because their culture required circumcision. That's not a good message for our boys. It is our men who should say they will not marry circumcised women. It would really help. And they should say the goodness of uncircumcised women. If all our men said they will marry uncircumcised women, FGM will end. But if women believe that they have to be circumcised to get married, then women will continue being circumcised. It's been very sad to watch women who escaped circumcision go back home after university to get circumcised for them to get married. I think that our men must confirm that they will marry women who are not circumcised so that women can stop getting circumcised. We are supporting and working with the plan on Polycare program, a very good government program on SGBV led by the police. We would urge that that particular program continues on and that we have the fight against SGBV and the crimes that are related to SGBV as well. We indeed look forward to working with Plan International for the next 5 years. My only lesson, having been in this country and a leader for a long time, is also the Kenyan story. We are very good at writing country strategies. That has never been our problem. Our problem is implementation. We write good laws, we write good plans. Then we don't implement them. So I'm hoping that you don't become Kenyan on this one, that you become like the UK. The UK wrote a good teenage pregnancy strategy, which they implemented, and we are hoping that with our minister here, we could also write our country national strategy on eradicating teenage pregnancies. But today, I hope that plan implements its plan. Thank you very much.
Many thanks for that, Honorable Priscilla Nyokavi. And she did mention a few things that are relatable. And even though she said it in passing around, for example, the betting and how it can lead to GBV, unfortunately, gender-based violence in many ways in our society has been normalized. That, I think, is the most heartbreaking thing to look at every day as a woman in this country. It's been socially normalized. And so we're just pushing for that to be undone. She's talked about the fact that we need to say no. The men are the ones who need to say they do not anymore want to marry child brides or girls who've been circumcised. It actually starts by unlearning this socialized norm that GBV does happen every day in every single setting. It's such a real trauma for millions, not just in Kenya, the world over. Probably made even worse because of the onset of the pandemic. So again, we hear these things every day. We hear issues about FGM being raised every day. We hear issues about teen pregnancy every day. But let's not be numb to it. Let's unlearn the social normalization of these issues, and let's start saying we need to unlearn this and address it head on with all our might. There's somebody who once said, if we're loud enough, we silence the bullies. So let's be loud. Let's be loud. I'm an influencer, by the way, and by default, we are loud. We are just loud, but it makes a difference. As we're looking at collaborating with partners, don't forget amplifiers. People who have a massive following online. If we're loud enough, we silence the bullies. And if we're loud enough, we silence the bad guys. And that's something that we need to take from this. And so we are nearing the unveiling of the country strategy in just a few moments. There's some really interesting theatrics that will happen here, which I'm really looking forward to. So I know the team will be on standby to make sure that that goes well. And in the meantime, I would now like to invite the Chief Administrative Assistant, Honorable Olen Tutu, to welcome the keynote speaker, Honorable Simon Chelugui, Cabinet Secretary for the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Honorable Simon Chelugui, Honorable Priscilla Nyokabi, National Gender and Equality Commissioner, Mrs. Kate Maina, Country Director, Plan International, Dr. Richard Albech, Deputy Director, British High Commissioner, a representative from county government led by our CEC, Kwale County, Sylvia Shidado, Dr. Mohammed Sheikh, Director for National Council Population Development, ladies and gentlemen. My work this morning is to welcome our chief guest, our CS Simon Chelgui, to address us. Sir, before I do that, allow me to make a few remarks. Now that my colleague from the 11th Parliament has really talked passionately about what we did in Parliament, and I really want to thank her because she has always been very passionate about this subject, and I think we have helped her a lot to come up with a number of legislation. Plan International has been working with communities in our country for over 35 years, supporting orphans and vulnerable children, the youth and marginalized communities. We are delighted to be here today to witness the launch of the new 5-year country strategic plan that will guide your organization in accomplishing your goals. Children make up almost a half of Kenya's population, and as a country, we have always strived to ensure that we have laws, policies, institutions that speak to the whole needs of our children. Our constitution, which is rated as one of the most progressive constitutions in Africa, recognizes all international and regional laws that Kenya has signed as a direct source of law. Further, Section 53 of the Constitution outlines the right of all children in Kenya and emphasizes on consideration of best interests of the child in every matter concerning them. The government of Kenya recognizes the importance of children in the society and embrace values that cherish our holistic child rights based on approach. As demonstrated through development of various policies and legal framework and programs meant to safeguard the rights and welfare of our children in our country and other vulnerable persons. Child protection is not only the responsibility of the government. Non-governmental organizations, therefore, have a critical role to play, too, in the child welfare and protection. Across the globe, NGOs have been working to uplift children, more particularly underprivileged children who live in exceptional, difficult situation. In Kenya, NGOs have contributed to the development of communities in our country and are therefore important partners to our government. We appreciate all the efforts you put in support our programs and complementing government efforts to supporting poor and vulnerable members of our society. With those very, very few remarks, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome our Cabinet Secretary to make his key remarks. Karibu Waziri.
Thank you. You may take your seats. Thank you very much, Honorable Patrick Olen Tutu, for those remarks. And I'm also very happy and excited to join you today to launch a very important document that touches on lives of our young people, more so our girls. Honorable Patrick Ntutu, our CAS, Minister of Labor and Social Protection, Dr. Richard Elbach, Deputy Development Director, British High Commission, Madam Gate Minor, Foley Country Director, Plan International, Honorable Priscilla Nyokapi, Commissioner of the National Gender and Equality Commission, Dr. Mohamed Sheikh, Director General of NCPD, Madam Sylvia Chidodo, and my former Director in Water Resource Authority, and now CEC Kwale, in charge of public administration and representing our good friend, Governor Salim Buria, development partners present, representatives from the government ministries, departments and agencies, representatives from county government, representatives from civil society, child protection organization, youth advocates, distinguished guests, members of the fourth estate, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Amjambo. Asante sana. A number of quotes have been said here, and I would begin by mentioning a few that have shaped the direction and the state and the position we are in today. And I want to pick from what Kate said, that there is no better time to show our commitment to our Kenyan children. They need to be heard, we need to develop, and we need to empower them. Every time you fall, dusting yourself and moving and soldiering on. This is what this is the message to our girls, more so the girl we saw from Kisumu in one of the videos, that the greatest glory is not falling. We can dream again. We can rise up again. We can aspire again and scale the heights and be whoever we could be if we are determined, empowered, and given opportunity. So I want to thank Plan International for giving our girls a second opportunity, another chance to rise up again from maybe a mistake or something that happened unintended. We have been told the statistics by National Council of Population. Some majority of these are unintended. And therefore, I'm also a chair of a secondary school, public secondary school. We have every year we admit over 30 girls, giving them second chance, second opportunity. Girls who gave birth in high school, they were expelled, they were suspended, they were ashamed, they didn't go back to the same school. We have admitted them. And I want to confirm to this meeting, those girls have done much better than the girls who came straight transition from primary to secondary. They have done much better. And there it confirms that giving these girls a second chance is the most glorifying moment. And it's always my pride to see these girls transition from secondary school to university after giving them that opportunity. So I'm delighted to join you all for the launch of Plan International of Kenya Country Strategic Plan 2021-2026. I trust you are all keeping safe and try to cope with the COVID-19 pandemic, which has taken the world by storm and completely changed our way of life. I note that Plan International is implementing a new and ambitious 5-year country strategy, whose strategic goal is ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against adolescent girls and young women in Kenya. Every successful organization leader must determine their vision for the future as well as identify goals and objectives of the organization they lead. By having such strategic plan, an organization operates with sense of directions by outlining measurable goals. However, for the overall strategic plan to become a useful tool for guiding day-to-day decisions, evaluating progress, and devising ways of doing things better based on realistic achievement, it must be cascaded down to all employees. Many organizations these days are using the McKinsey 7S framework as a tool to analyze their organizational design. This framework looks at 7 key internal elements of strategy, structure, systems, shared values, style, staff, and skills in order to identify if they are effectively aligned to achieve the overall organization objectives. I'm sure Plan International Kenya has done a deep dive at these 7 elements in developing the strategic plan we are launching today. Ladies and gentlemen, over the last 39 years, Plan International Kenya has supplemented our government efforts in mitigating many challenges affecting the girls in our country, our young women in particular, and by extension to the larger Kenyan community. Through this new Plan International Kenya Country Strategy 2021-2026, we see your commitment to continue supporting our government efforts. I note that Plan International Kenya Country Strategy Plan is aligned to global agenda such as 2030 global goals. I also note that strategy has identified 4 strategic pillars: sexual reproductive health and rights, where your aim is to contribute to improved access and utilization of sexual and reproductive health, rights and services, and information to reduce teenage pregnancy and harmful practices in Kenya. Your second strategic plan is prevention and response to all forms of gender-based violence and discrimination against girls and young women, where your goal is to ensure that every child and girl's rights, protection, and mechanism at all levels are functional and responsive. Your third strategic pillar is protecting girls and young women in crisis community-led climate change adaptation, where your goal is to contribute to minimized impact of disasters on girls, young women, families, and communities. While your fourth pillar is youth-led and innovative partnership solutions to job creation, where your goal is to contribute to building stronger ecosystem of youth employment and entrepreneurship, unlocking the potential of young people, especially vulnerable young women, while seeking employment or as job creators. These are very well thought out strategic pillars, which when implemented will lead to overall improvement in the quality of life in our country. Ladies and gentlemen, in Kenya, children form a critical segment of our population based on 2019 population census. They are approximately 52% of our population, meaning that the issues must be the heart of every government and non-governmental plans in our country. I want to thank National Council for Population Development for the statistics they've given us. To give you more information, our ministry ran a system that captures forms of violence in our country. For example, between the month of January and July 2021, cases of violence against children reported in our Child Protection Information System were 198,815. This included neglected children were 127,840. Parents requesting custody of children are numbered 25,400. 400. And those who are abandoned and left on their own by their parents were 5,834. These statistics are not just numbers. These are lives. These are children who have been denied opportunities. These are children whose ambition has been cut down by this form of violence. As a ministry, we've come up with a number of strategies to partner and cooperate with any non-governmental organization. We have now created a Department of Children's Services. We have a secretary who is present with me here, and Children's Services have now been given the highest recognition in government through a directorate with its own budgetary plan. We are working on a plan to legislate, enact the new children's bill, which girls' rights and protection of children is anchored. It speaks about, it looks at all the stages of children from birth all the way to adulthood. We are looking at issues of fostership, children rights, responsibilities, foster care, institutionalization, adoption of children, including children who are being moved from one country to the other. Kenya has been found to be a source, a destination, and a transit country as far as children trafficking is concerned. And as a government, through the directorate and various sagas in our ministry, we are working hard to ensure we reduce or eliminate, working together with partners, the Joint Forces Alliance and Plan International, in eliminating or reducing any forms of child violence and protecting all our children, giving them opportunities and second chance for them to live to their ambition, to their desires. The Violence Against Children 2019 survey report, which I launched last year, data from the Department of Children's Services and other reports, children continue to face various challenges which include increased cases of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, parental neglect, and child labor and exploitation, and other forms of violence against children. We must therefore come together to address these vices and abuses against children together as a society, both as state and non-state actors. The government has enacted several legislation as well as developed various guidelines and standards to inform interventions to the challenges faced by our children. Various policies, statutes, and standards of operations and guidelines are used by practitioners in the children's sector in a bid to prevent and respond to violence against children. This fits very well to your Plan International 5-year country strategy, which we are launching today. Last 2 months ago, we did launch the campaign, Spot It, Stop It. And we continue to work with other corporates in ensuring our children, specifically our girls, are safe and secure. Ladies and gentlemen, child protection calls for multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary approach to prevent and respond to various ills committed against the child. The child protection workforce, which provides services to children, is drawn from various disciplines and is found in both state agencies and non-state actors. I'm happy to know that there has been significant achievement in child protection from collaboration with my ministry and the JFA for children in Kenya that brings together Plan International, World Vision, the Save the Children Kenya, SOS Children, Villages, Child Fund, and Therese D. Holmes International Federation in responding to child protection. In particular, I know the stride that we have made as a government in collaboration with Plan International and other partners in development and rollout of child protection information management system. The ministry recognizes the important role played by child protection volunteers who form the first line of defense against abuse and violence against children, since they live in communities where children live and are in a position to protect, detect, and respond to cases of abuse and child protection risks. My ministry, through the State Department of Social Protection, in partnership with Plan International and USAID Health IT, has developed an integrated software application system called Furuku Mappa. Through this application, which is usable through mobile phones, and I'm grateful and thankful for the support you gave us, the mobile phones you gave us. We've distributed them to our children officers, and we are beginning to see the contribution, positive impact it's making in our society. The child protection volunteers and other practitioners at the community level will now be able to respond, intervene, and directly report cases of child abuses through the Child Protection Information Management System in my ministry. I'm also aware that your organization has supported the training of children officers and is committed to support the training of child protection volunteers in the 4 counties of Nairobi, Kwale, Kilifi, and Mombasa. At this point, let me, on behalf of our President and the government of Kenya, appreciate Plan International for your contribution in the construction of Child Protection Unit in Tharaka Nithi, in Diani, in Kwale, which I launched myself, in Kilifi, which was launched by the Chief Administrative Secretary, and the other promises that you've given us to replicate the same units across the country. Given these statistics, we can be able to share where these incidences are rampant so that we can be able to place some of these units in those areas. This collaboration and support has contributed immensely in the safeguarding of the rights and welfare of our children. I look forward to a similar support in at least 5 other counties where abuse against children is rampant. I'm happy to note that as you will be implementing this strategic plan, you can use the Child Protection Information Management System to collect and document data on teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against adolescent girls and young women in Kenya. The data in the Child Protection Management System has continued to inform policy formulation, programming, and decision-making for child protection. This data was published in the year 2020 economic survey, and discussion are ongoing with the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics to have it published in the forthcoming 2021 economic survey report. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to commend Plan International, because through these facilities that we benefited in Kwale, Kilifi, Tharaka, and other counties, and still looking forward for others, we've seen children who may come in breach of the law, isolated from the core and adults and senior citizens of this country, so that we continue to care, mentor our children. We continue to, even those who may come in breach of the law, are not mixed with core criminals, so that the child rights, the child rights are covered and protected from when they are born, including when they fall out with the societal norms and the laws of the country. These facilities are helping us. I've been able to talk to the leadership of Kwale County and Kilifi County, and it's truly touching lives. It's truly changing lives. The police officers, the command in those 2 counties are very happy, and these children, we are rehabilitating these children. We are correcting these children. These are children below the age of 18, and therefore the way we treat them can impact and have a lifelong impact on their lives. The intention of this correctional or this child protection unit is to correct and prepare them, give them a second chance, give them a second opportunity so that they can live their life, their full life. The data, therefore, as I conclude, I want to appreciate Plan International and your partners for the effort you have invested in development of this strategic plan, and wish you all the best as you implement the priorities set out in your plan. Last month, or rather in July, 30th of July, we were in London with our president, and we did raise up our hands for the children of the world, more so the developing countries. 5 African presidents were there. This is the GPE, which was being sponsored by our president and the British Prime Minister, managed to raise 400 billion Kenya shillings to save the children of the world, more so the developing countries. This program, we committed ourselves through our president and our leaders to save and empower our children in terms of education. And as you've heard Mandela say, education is the most powerful tool that can be used to change the world. We managed to raise enough resources to give our children an opportunity to go to school, to bring equality, to bring uniformity, and make sure that Kenyan child is not left behind, and all other African children are not left behind. And I could see the commitment by our president and all the leaders present to ensure that Kenyan child and all the children in this part of the world are given an opportunity to go to school. I wish to reiterate, therefore, and sincerely appreciate the support from our partners towards the implementation of many child protection programs in our country. Let us continue working together and forge more partnership in the development of policies and strategies towards guaranteeing basic rights and welfare of the children and vulnerable people. So, I wish to thank all of you, including the British High Commission, who have continued to partner with Plan International and my ministry in ensuring all those children programs are actualized, are realized. And let us form a team. Let's form a coalition of partners, of like-minded organizations. Let us synergize information, including National Council for Population and all other partners, the National Gender Commission, and all other partners, and cascade all these actions down to our counties so that we have a joint effort as a country towards ending violence against our children, again, and protect our girls, give them an opportunity. The girl who spoke before us shed tears, not on behalf of many Kenyan children, not only the Kwale children, on behalf of many other children. And that tear that she shed is meant to send the most powerful message to all of us in this room to ensure that the next Kenyan child is protected, is saved from this violence that we continue to see. The numbers of recorded cases in our child protection management system continue to rise. And therefore, we need to reflect, even as you implement and operationalize your plan, we need to interrogate how our plans are working towards reducing this violence, this form of child protection abuses that we continue to face. We need to see that we are touching lives. We need to see our plans are working for us. They are changing and improving, and we should start to begin to see the gap coming down. That is what we all desire. That is what we want to see as a government. And I want to give you assurance on behalf of the government of Kenya and specifically the ministry, the Department of Social Protection. We will work with you hand in hand every step of the way to ensure that all our children are safe and secure. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Simon Chalugui. Can we please give our chief guest a standing ovation, as I also request him to remain on stage very briefly for this very key moment where we are approaching the unveiling of the strategy, and also to be joined by the Plan International country manager, that is Kate Minor. Voli, could you please join Waziri on stage? And Hope will guide you in this process. There are 4 strategic pillars for this country strategy. And of course, I think you may take your seats now, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. This is really how we move towards officially unveiling this particular moment. We'll also be inviting a few more individuals to come and put the rest in. So please, Hope will guide you both. I think I need to be somewhere here. Is that okay? Okay. And so once again, we're going to have this very symbolic moment, if we can get... There we have it. And so we're going to have, of course, Honorable Simon Chalugui, joined by Kate Minor Voli, Country Director, Plan International. As mentioned, there are 4 strategic pillars for this country strategy, and we're going to have a few sets of people each plugging one onto that, I guess you could say, jigsaw puzzle, sort of like in a symbolic moment, because they all tie in together for maximum impact. And so we can give them a round of applause. We're still going to have more confetti coming because there are going to be photo ops. Allow us to take a few pictures quickly because there will be an opportunity to do the photo ops in just a few moments. May I invite you please to take your seats. At some point we will invite you back to just do a group photo. We are now inviting the next set of individuals to put, we're still building the building blocks. We have 3 more. I'd now like to invite Madam Sylvia Chidodo to be joined by Honorable Priscilla Nyokavi to put in the second bit of the jigsaw puzzle. So the first one there is improved access. Let's welcome them. And the second one is prevention and response. We'll have 2 more sets and then come back together for a group photo. There we have it. Thank you so much, ladies. You may take your seats. We'll be calling on you once again for a group photo. We now have the Deputy Development Director, British High Commissioner, Dr. Richard Earlbach, to please make his way, and he'll be joined by Dr. Mohammed Sheikh to put in the 3rd strategic pillar of this strategy plan. You may make your way towards Hope. She'll guide you. Another round of applause. Thank Thank you. And last but not least, Rehema and Calvin. We have the honor of inviting you back to put in the final bit of the jigsaw puzzle. It all actually comes together with Rehema and Calvin. This is about them. So it's symbolic that they're kind of piecing it all together at the very end there. So go towards Hope and she'll guide you on what to do. And I'd now like to invite all of our chief guests to the front here for a photo op, please. And that is, of course, everyone who was able to piece this together. We have His Excellency Honorable Simon Chalugui, we have Kate Minor Foley, we have Dr. Richard Alba, Dr. Sheikh Ahmed, and of course, our lovely youth over here. We'll allow the media a few photo ops before we go to the vote of thanks and the next agenda. We're dropping the jigsaw so that it can be central to the photos. Sorry, please make your way on the stage, Your Excellencies and ladies and gentlemen, because of the jet. So please make your way onto the stage, kindly. Thank you so much for your understanding. Ladies and gentlemen, it's officially launched.
This is your celebration.
Thank you. Just a few more minutes for the press, ladies and gentlemen. Just a few more minutes until they're happy. Just remain on stage shortly.
Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A celebration to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time.
Okay, we are almost at the end. I'd like to invite you all to take your seats. Thank you so much. Save for Honorable Simon Chalugui and of course Kate Minor. They are going to be asked to symbolically reenact putting back the first strategic pillar. And I think our youth advocates can be on standby a little bit closer to the stage to take a photo with them as well, so you can start making your way to take photos. Our youth advocates who are on this side of the room, please start making your way. As they complete what they're doing, we will ask you to take a photo with them. So please make your way to the stage. Please make your way to the stage a little bit faster because we know Waziri needs to leave.
There's a party going on right here. A dedication to last throughout the years.
Again, all the young people, the youth advocates for Plan International, please come closer to our two chief guests to take a photo with them before we move on to our vote of thanks and invite you all to lunch. Can they come? There we go. Our youth advocates to surround.
It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on! It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. Come on now. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright, baby. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate.
A photo op with some of the youth advocates from Plan International with Honorable Simon Chalugui as well as Kate Minor Voli. A few more minutes, please. All right. Are we good? Are we happy? Because I'd now like to invite everyone back to their seats for a quick vote of thanks by Peter Mwaura before we then get some instructions after that. The program is pretty much over. We'd like to ask you all to just give us a few more minutes for the vote of thanks and then an opportunity to speak to the press. Yeah. Peter is taking over from Roger Yates. This is a youth takeover. You saw one on video. This is one happening in real time. Peter Mwaura, a youth advocate, giving us the vote of thanks. Karibu, Peter.
So, good afternoon, you all. So, Roger Yates was supposed to give this vote of thanks but virtually. Unfortunately, our internet connection was very horrible. That couldn't happen. And we apologize for that. So before I give this vote of thanks from Roger Yates, I would like to just share a little story about the same things that we've been talking about here. So when I was 16, I'm telling you that because I don't want you to know my age right now. So, yeah, when I was 16, my mom was 30, meaning mathematically, she gave birth to me when she was 14. So if I'm right, I'm not good at math. So my mom was a teenage mother. So she went through a lot. So she had to drop out of school at the age of 14. She didn't even graduate primary school. And she had me. And you'll think that was the worst until you hear the deeper details of the whole story. Well, I'm just glad I don't have that time to narrate you those small details. They will even make me cry. So, yeah, she was uneducated. She didn't understand that I needed to get immunized at birth, the BCG, the one on TB. Yeah, the one for TB. So I contracted TB of the spine. So I'm a registered person with the disability because of that, with TB, that TB of the spine. So it's a sad story. I'm just glad I didn't give you the whole detail of the whole events and how it all turned out. But it's so sad. It was so sad and bad, horrible, almost like hell. So we went through hell. We were living in Madare. She was poor, And so standing here as an advocate, as a male champion, see, I have all the reasons to just be in the forefront of that fight. Maybe I don't need to be that front because women understand their problems better than we can. So I'm not really that in the forefront, in real that forefront, but I'm there leading. I want to be there supporting these women fighting for themselves. So with those short remarks, I want to give you this vote of thanks. I want to read you what Roger Yates wanted to tell you. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for gracing this occasion from all parts of the world. So we would have wished to physically be in one room, but we are grateful to connect virtually, all because of the passion we have for adolescent girls and young women. So as Plan International Kenya gets into a new era, I note the importance of partnerships, and we are very grateful to note the great representation of the government of Kenya. So thank you, Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Simon Chelugui. We know how critical it is for civil society organizations to partner with governments to achieve the sustainable development goals, as well as the government's desire to ensure the well-being of all members of the society. So it's a joy to also note the representation of the United Kingdom through the High Commission in Kenya. So I'm also grateful to note the participation and involvement of other key government officials, including representation from the National Gender and Equality Commission, Kwale County Government, National Council of Population Development, whose key mandate is ending teenage pregnancies, International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, and Gender Violence Recovery Center. So indeed, ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against girls and young women cannot be done in isolation. So I also would like to recognize and thank the participation of youth, particularly girl advocates. So this strategy will be implemented through key involvement of youth, especially adolescent girls and young women, as we seek to ensure that their voices are equally heard and valued. So we are indeed excited that Plan International Kenya strategy is contributing towards the realization of the global ambition of ensuring 100 million girls learn, lead, decide, and thrive. So thank you to all those who have attended this launch, both physically and virtually.
Thank you, Peter Maura, for giving the vote of thanks on behalf of Roger Yates. We appreciate you, Asante Sana. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how we come to the end of an incredibly informative, enriching session. And Hope has some information about lunch, which I know we're all eager to have.
Well, as we wrap up, we're going to wrap up in style, and that is with a sumptuous meal. And thank you very much for every single person that has been able to stay with us right from the very beginning to the very end. Now, for lunch instructions is we will have our VIP guests step out and go and have lunch together at the restaurant called Sikia, which is on the first floor. And then the rest of us can remain, and please take this opportunity to go to the media post over there so that you can be able to take a few photos to commemorate this day. And then afterwards, we shall be able to proceed for lunch at the main restaurant, which is on the ground floor. Thank you very much for making time today. I don't know, Janet, you have something to say before we close?
No, I'm just listening to you in awe. I'm like, let her keep going. No, I think that was it. So for now, we would like to really appreciate you all for being a part of this incredible moment. We'd like to invite first our chief guests to make their way out of the room. The rest of us will follow, but as Hope has said, take some photos, have some memories. Asanteni Sana, and from now on, it's action after the launch. So thank you all very much. As Janet and Hope, we appreciate you. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
About the past, I'm crying out behind the mask. So give me something for the pain. I want to lose myself again. Please get out of my mind. Just get out of my sight. Let me go for one day. Let me lose myself. Oh, I knew how this would end. How I knew.
Plan International Kenya has been operating in Kenya since 1982 and over time has carved out a niche for itself in delivering long-term development and relief programs focused on the well-being of children and marginalized communities in 20 of the 47 counties of Kenya. Currently, Plan International has operations in 10 counties in Kenya. Plan International Kenya is now embarking on a bold new ambitious country strategy aligned to sustainable development goals and other global priorities. The goal of the new strategy is ending teenage pregnancies and all forms of violence against girls and young women. The new strategy is anchored on 4 pillars, which are sexual and reproductive health and rights, prevention and response to all forms of gender-based violence and discrimination against girls and young women, protecting girls and young women in crisis and community-led climate change and adaptation, and youth-led and innovative multi-sectoral solutions on job creation. Under the Sexual and Reproductive Health and Rights, Plan International Kenya will contribute to the improved access and utilization of SRHR services and information that will help in the reduction of teenage pregnancies and harmful practices that girls face. Under Prevention and Response to all forms of gender-based violence and discrimination against girls and young women, Plan International Kenya will ensure that children and girls' rights protection mechanisms at all levels are functional and responsive in preventing and responding to all forms of violence and abuse against children and girls, both physically and on digital platforms. Under Protecting Girls and Young Women in Crisis and Community-Led Climate Change Adaptation, Plan International Kenya will work towards minimizing the impact of disasters on girls, young women, families, and communities through emergency response and resilience building. Under the Youth-Led and Innovative Partnership Solutions on Job Creation, Plan International Kenya will be a builder of innovative multi-sectoral, high-value and equal partnerships that will contribute towards building a stronger ecosystem for youth employment and entrepreneurship while unlocking the potential of young people, especially vulnerable young women. Our ambition in the next 5 years is to reach 2,750,000 children and young people with a primary focus on girls so they can learn, lead, decide and thrive by the year 2026. We will achieve this through community-based engagements, promoting positive attitudes, behaviors and practices towards adolescent girls and young women, promoting social campaigns that increase the agency of adolescent girls and young women, partnerships with UN agencies, donor bodies, private organizations, community-based organizations, civil societies organizations, national and county governments, influencing power holders, continuous involvement of boys and men as allies and partners in gender equality, and leveraging ICT for development and learning and knowledge management. Plan International Kenya is well placed to ensure that adolescent girls, young women and youth are empowered to make informed choices on their sexuality, to break gender barriers, to access equal opportunities, and are protected from all forms of violence.